It's got to be the nicest 757 on the planet.
The plane is very much an extension of the Trump brand.
Donald Trump's Boeing 757 is one of the largest, most luxurious private jets in the world. So how do you tell one of America's richest men that his pride and joy is in pieces? And that you may have lost one of the jet's most vital parts.
Different guy.
I know Mr. Trump, and I know that he will only settle for his own calling on the airplane, and I don't blame him.
And Trump has made a special request that will force his pilot to make a very tricky maneuver. Palm Beach, Florida. It's the place to be for America's rich and famous. It's also home to one of the largest and most luxurious private jets in the world. This Boeing 757 is a sleek, narrow-bodied, long-legged beauty. And she's treated like the celebrity who owns her. Visitors at this private airfield can't resist gawking and taking photos. They must keep their distance, because like the billionaire tycoon who bought her, she commands respect. This is Donald Trump's private jet. A Boeing 757 that's a giant in its class. And this is the man who Donald Trump trusts with his life. He's John Duncan, and he's been Trump's personal pilot on and off since 1989.
The biggest part of my job is to make sure that everything happens seamlessly behind the scenes for Mr. Trump. So we might be scrambling, but when Mr. Trump shows up, you just step on the airplane and be off to his destination. We should be departing on runway 7.
A lifelong pilot, John took on the ultimate challenge when Trump acquired one of the best private jets money can buy, the Boeing 757.
Everything that they did on it is very, very spectacular. They've got large, high-thrust Rolls Royce engines on it. It's got a very nice look to it. It's extremely fast for an airliner. It's a very, very fast airplane for a large airplane. It's extremely comfortable. It takes turbulence very, very well. It's kind of like the Ferrari in the airline category airplane.
Built to hold 228 passengers, this 757 is 3 times the size of the average private jet. 47 meters long, with a wingspan of 39 meters. The tail stands 14 meters high. She's one of the biggest privately owned corporate jets flying.
Well, the 757, in my opinion, is probably one of the most remarkable airplanes that Boeing ever built.
Inside, the $100 million plane has enough gold that, if melted down, could gold plate the outside of a Greyhound bus. Seatbelts, light sockets, decorative trim. The ceiling panels are ultra suede. The seats are high-grade leather. The cabinets are rare mahogany. The plane has a screening room that's the same size as a large home theater and equipped with a 57-inch TV. This 757 even has 2 bedrooms and a shower. Any man who flies for Donald Trump is no ordinary pilot. John Duncan has aviation in his blood.
My father was a military pilot, and he actually started teaching me to fly when I was 15 years old. As a matter of fact, I started flying an airplane before I could drive a car. It's just something that always fascinated me. It's something that I just grew to love. Once I had a chance to go solo, I was really hooked, and I decided that's what I wanted to do.
After years as Trump's private pilot, John has learned his role. Every flight must be planned to perfection. And that's hard, because his boss has a very busy and unpredictable schedule.
Yeah, obviously, anytime there's any kind of a short notice change, we have to deal with it as quickly and efficiently as possible so we don't inconvenience Mr. Trump or his schedule, because we know how important that is.
Trump's signature line, "You're fired," is an unlikely possibility for the expert pilot. But Duncan is not taking any chances.
Well, I'm sure that if I damaged his airplane, that probably would not be a good thing. And I'm not sure. I mean, Mr. Trump's he's a very fair man, but I'm sure there's something I could do that would upset him.
Now John is taking Trump from Palm Beach to New York, Trump's 2 homes.
They can make a slot reservation for an arrival at LaGuardia, 1700Z on the 26th, please.
But this is not an ordinary flight, because after this one, the plane's going in for a routine safety inspection.
Every 18 months, we do a major inspection on the airplane. It's an FAA requirement. It's part of our approved maintenance program. And what that basically does is that we inspect the entire airplane very, very carefully to make sure that everything's in perfect working order. It's a very common occurrence. It's something that happens on all jets, just at different intervals, and it takes quite a substantial amount of work and time to do.
But John is in a race against time. In 3 weeks, Trump needs to go to London to make a keynote address, and he wants a 757 to take him there. That's enough time for the safety check, but really tight for a series of cosmetic changes and upgrades that Trump wants done while the plane is in the shop.
Hello, this is John.
But John has no choice but to say yes.
Alrighty.
Mid-afternoon, John Duncan and co-pilot Larry Bryan ready the 757 for takeoff. First step, a visual inspection on the tarmac. Then, the flight checklist. After clearing security, the billionaire tycoon boards the plane.
First thing I do when I get on this aircraft is look around for details. I always study the details. Cleanliness, I go up to the pilot, see how everything's going. I like to look at the cockpit. I want everything to be absolutely perfect. So, John, everything's good?
Everything's perfect, Mr. Trump.
All right, good.
Good.
Let's have a good flight.
All righty.
Thank you.
Even for this regular Florida-New York flight, John is a man of precision that suits his boss to a T.
Takeoff speeds.
V1's 121, VR is 128, and V2 is 134.
Duncan and Donald Trump have an understanding based on years of trust and respect.
You need somebody with great integrity, has tremendous amounts of money at stake in terms of the maintenance, in terms of taking care of the plane, in terms of the quality of the plane itself. So John Duncan really epitomizes to me what that's all about.
All right, we're ready to taxi. Oh, that's what Mr. Trump has hired me for, is not only to fly the airplane, but also to make sure that all of that planning is done correctly and to make sure that everything is in place before we depart.
Clear on a ride, John.
The plane not only feels like a Rolls Royce on the inside, it's got 2 Rolls Royce engines powering it, which was something Trump desperately wanted. The engines are the safest in the industry and the quietest in their class, meaning Trump can land the airplane even in noise-restricted airports.
One of the things very important to me on the Boeing 757 was the Rolls Royce engines. They're special, they're really popular, the most popular, and frankly, I was happy to be able to get the one with the Rolls Royce engines. We really wanted that.
Hello, folks. Your captain speaking. We're next to the runway. We'll be departing here momentarily. Please be seated for departure.
With 40,000 pounds of thrust on each engine, the Rolls Royces can propel this jet to 41,000 feet in just 20 minutes.
Isn't that cool? 1 to go.
Yes, sir, indeed.
John takes the 757 northward from Palm Beach to New York. Gia Parolo is Donald Trump's personal flight attendant. She's been working for Mr. Trump since 2005.
This is a very short flight, so I'm just preparing some refreshments. We should be landing anytime soon.
In a plane that once held 228 passengers, there's lots of room for just one. With the 18 executive class seats, the 2 bedrooms, the media room, and a gourmet kitchen, Donald Trump is on top of the world. In 2 hours, they reach New York.
Flaps.
Flaps, I see 30 degrees.
30 degrees. Landing checklist complete. Clear to land.
Trump returns to the pinnacle of his empire, Trump Tower. Now he gets to work with the business of making money, while John Duncan gets the 757 back in the air. It took only 45 minutes to refuel and turn around to get him to his next destination, Brunswick, Georgia, where the plane will be serviced and to the standards which Donald Trump demands. Even with 2 shifts working around the clock, it's going to be a tight turnaround to guarantee a timely departure.